you're doing that while trying to process grief. And it stays with you for months when everyone else is like, okay, it's time to move on a week after the death.
When we speak the truth of what we lived through, we offer others a way through. I'm Danielle Elliott-Smith, and this is Hope Comes to Visit. As always, I'm really excited you're here. Today's guest is someone I am really excited to introduce you to. Adria Ferrier is the founder and CEO of Elayne, a company reimagining how families navigate the aftermath after loss. Inspired by her own experience caring for her mom through a 5-year battle with cancer, Adria left a career in finance to build a simpler, more compassionate path for families. She launched Elayne in 2024, joined Y Combinator's Summer Accelerator, and has been growing the company ever since. What drives her is a deep conviction that this company simply has to exist. Death and grief impact everyone, yet most people look away. Her mission is to light the path forward so that families can face the hardest moments of life with clarity, dignity, and care. Let's take a quick moment to thank the people that support and sponsor the podcast. When life takes an unexpected turn, you deserve someone who will stand beside you. St. Louis attorney Chris Dully offers experienced one-on-one legal defense. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP, or you can visit dullylawfirm.com. That's DULLE lawfirm.com for a free consultation. Adria, thank you so very much for being here and for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you, Danielle.
I'm excited to have you and to have this conversation. I realize that it's a difficult topic that brings you here, but you have made something extraordinary out of your experience.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I feel like we have so much to do. But even pausing to take stock of what we've done so far is really nice.
Let's start by talking about your mom. I mean, I think that she's the genesis of this, right? So let's give her the place of honor in the conversation. Let's talk about her. Tell me about your mom.
She was wonderful. I think, I've listened to some of your podcasts and you talk about grief and that there's no timeline. Mm-hmm. She passed away 3.5, almost 4 years ago, and I'm just starting to talk about her. So I guess my point is, if there are some tears, please forgive me. But
Adria, if you have tears now or in 15 minutes or in 15 years, that's okay. I mean, if you've listened to the podcast, then you know that I firmly believe that we grieve in direct correlation to how we love, right? So it's okay to honor her that way, right? I think even knowing small bits and pieces about the work you're doing, I can only imagine how proud she is.
Thank you. Well, she grew up in Hungary, so Eastern European. She's from a small village near the Ukrainian border, and she always wanted to be a doctor. And I think everything she did was really about paying it forward and helping people. And she told me the story that she found a dead rat in a basement once. She was 3, and she decided to dissect it and try and save it. I don't think she realized that dissecting it wouldn't save it, but she thought she could put it back together. And she was like, ever since then, I've wanted to be a doctor. In Hungary, it was a little bit hard for her to be a doctor. You had to have certain connections in the government and all of that. So she came out to the US and became a nephrologist. So
wow.
Yeah.
At what age did she come to the US?
She was 29. So she didn't speak any English. And she came and she insisted that she could go to her residency. So she just showed up on day 1 She was like, I'm here.
I'm here. I'd like to be a doctor. So
Yeah.
I am on this path. Don't even think about stopping me.
Yes, exactly. And they were in shock, but they said, okay, we'll let you stay for a couple of days. And she was, she became one of the top of her class, and the rest is history. So she really taught me early on that it doesn't matter how crazy the dream is or what you have to do in the moment, that you can, if you have a goal, you can just like really try and get there, and it's possible.
So she mixed her brain and her compassion to succeed, something she has very clearly passed on to you. She's given a diagnosis, and it sounds like you did a lot to take care of her through that process.
Yeah.
That is not easy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a really, and that too, I think I'm still processing the weight of it, but in my early 20s, she was diagnosed with lung cancer, which we didn't, I think most people don't even consider that when if they're not feeling well. They think, oh, it must be something else. Like, I've never smoked. How could it be lung cancer?
Right.
But it's really common, actually. It's the number one cancer killer of women. And I didn't know any of that when she was diagnosed. In my mind, I was like, oh, she's going to be fine. She always makes it through. And then, it was a hard 5.5-year battle.
So I'm actually going to go to something you just said. So lung cancer is the number one cancer of women, killer of women. Okay. So that's not something I'd heard before.
No, it's the number one cancer killer of women, more than breast, ovarian, and uterine combined each year.
Is it really? Is there an origin for that? Because I know that we do always associate lung cancer and smoking, right? And since I wouldn't automatically assume that all women or most women smoke, therefore, I wouldn't correlate that. Is there a correlation? Is there a reason?
You're asking the $1 million question. I mean, I think there's a number of reasons why it's so deadly. And one is this stigma that if you get lung cancer, it means you caused it to yourself because you were smoking, which has been really detrimental to finding new therapies in this type of cancer. And so that's the first one. And then second, they don't know why, but cancer in younger, so like under 60, non-smoking women is on the rise. And they think it could be hormonal, environmental, but it's really, if you look at the charts, they're pretty alarming. So yeah, any chance I get to just kind of tell people about it, love to talk about it.
No, I mean, if there are questions that I don't ask you that you want to share about that particular piece of it, please do. I mean, I think I'd love to be a platform for that. So how old was your mom?
She was 52. So
I am 52. So she was 52 when she was diagnosed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So so she fought for 5.5 years, you said, yes?
Yes. So she was 52. I think, and just illustrate more of the of the journey here. Since she was a doctor, she ate really healthy and ran every day. So she noticed that she was getting shortness of breath while she was on her daily runs. And she thought it was stress. Like, women often think that it must be stress. And then we're kind of told, like, you're just being crazy. And so she like self-ordered a chest x-ray and diagnosed it, because she went to a couple of doctors and they were all like, you're just stressed out. You need to maybe sleep more. So yeah, and then I remember the day she was diagnosed formally, because it kind of plays like a movie in my head. Like,
I'll bet.
Yeah. the doctor said, you have this type, it's called EGFR. You have, typically people survive 8 months from now, but we're going to do our best to help you. And it's stage 4 and terminal. And so I I still remember the script. And yeah, so she survived 5.5 years, which is amazing. All things
Extraordinary.
considered. Yeah.
So I am insatiably curious at all times, especially people's stories. And so there were a couple of thoughts that came to mind as you were talking. And one of them was, what have you learned from her about advocating for yourself? Because I know that we know when something's wrong, right? So she knew. But as women, we are frequently told, it's stress, you're fine, it's just a little pain. I spoke to a previous guest about saying that she was in pain and being told that's normal and given a Tylenol at something that clearly wasn't normal. And so she knew that something was wrong. What have you learned from her about advocating for yourself?
That's such a wonderful question. I've never thought about that. And it's funny because I journal, and as I was like reflecting on the company's trajectory and learnings, my takeaway this past week was trust your gut. And I think sometimes you do get disconnected from that. And the time after my mom passed away was really stressful too. But I think there's this beautiful like arc where like just trusting your gut and not accepting what people are telling you. I'll have to examine that more. But I think she really demonstrated that her whole life.
Yes, I would. I have learned over the years that trusting my gut is truly one of the most powerful things I could do, whether it is in advocating for myself and doctors or in conversations with people. The more I trust my gut, the more I know whether a conversation is going well or not going well, whether someone is being honest with me or dishonest with me. And I will even if I know someone is being dishonest with me and I try to push it and I give them an opportunity to clear the air, sometimes I'll let it go, but I will still allow myself permission to say, like it's going to come back around somehow, but I'll still allow myself to trust that inner knowing. I do believe that the more you trust that inner knowing, the stronger it gets. Because you're telling yourself you're giving yourself that permission.
Yeah.
So what was it about your mom's journey that did allow her to stay with you for as long as she did? I mean, being given such a short period of time and such a terminal diagnosis, I mean, for it to play like a movie, clearly she wasn't given very much time. And then you did get her for quite a bit longer.
Yeah. I think exactly as you said, just advocating, going to the best center that we had in our area. So Dana-Farber, it's an amazing cancer center, and being really involved with her own journey. Like she didn't sit back and just let the doctors tell her what to do. She started a patient advocacy group. I helped her a lot with it. And pull together like thousands of lung cancer patients who are dealing with the same thing, and they would exchange notes, and they had a newsletter, or they still exist, and they've grown significantly. So I think it was being really hands-on, and then also she wanted to stay with us. Like she always told me, and no tears, but she always told me that she knew I would be okay. My little sister, I think, struggled. She was younger. So she did struggle with, understanding what was happening. And then I don't think it really hit her that my mom was actually going to die until she did pass away. And so, there's all these dynamics, and I know she did stay as long as she could for us.
Adria, I feel as though part of this process for you has part of the weight and the grief that you're carrying, not that you were carrying, but that you are carrying, is the desire to be stronger for other people. For your mom then, for your sister. What do you do for you to take care of you, to allow yourself to feel?
You're asking all these questions I don't get asked very often. I think I think that's something I'm starting to work on and I'm starting to figure out, and kind of going to a point that I think you had in one of your past episodes was that grief, it doesn't really have an end date and it kind of flows. And I've been kind of running so fast and so hard to stay ahead of it, and maybe not fully embrace it quite yet. And so, this is one of the first conversations I've had this in depth about that time. But yeah, I think it's starting to be more open with it is step one. And it's not that I've necessarily hidden it. It's always been part of my story, but
of course,
sometimes you share and people are like, oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. And then they try and go on with their day. And so, you don't want to disturb other people. But yeah, I'm figuring it out. Speak it out.
I think that, I think grief waits for us, right? I think it sits there and it's ready to be released when we're ready to release it. But it'll wait for you. And one of the biggest keys is having the right people to talk to. Because if you feel as though you don't have safe people, or you feel as though sharing with people who can't receive it, then we keep it in. I'm an empath. So there were people I couldn't share around because if I broke down, I was too worried about their reaction and they were uncomfortable with my level of grief. So I had to be careful about that piece of it, right? Because their discomfort made me more uncomfortable, and then I turned more inward, and that almost took me back in my progress.
Yes. And I mean, even more overt stuff happened to me, after my mom passed away. I was really busy. And even before she passed away, I was taking care of her. And then after she passed away, I was taking care of my sister and unwinding my mom's life in a way. And I actually lost friends that said that I wasn't around enough and I'm not fun anymore. And, it really, really hurt because I thought that they were close friends. And, I look at life like there's chapters in life, and maybe I'm not fun now, or maybe I wasn't fun then, but I will be fun again. So yeah, it was really hurtful.
So that's not a you problem. I will tell you what my grief therapist told me, and I don't know if you've heard me say this in a different episode, but she said that when you go through grief, your life is being rearranged, and everyone in your life gets broken up into 3 categories, okay? People who disappear, people who show up readily, like all of a sudden they are there, and people who try. And the people who try are the ones who try to say something, and sometimes they do it right and sometimes they do it wrong, but they kind of flow in and out. The challenge with that ABC category of people is that the people who you were positive were going to be your core people, many of them fall into the disappear category.
Yeah.
And that is especially challenging because many of them are disappearing because it was too hard for them to know what to say or to know what to do, or because you weren't fun, or because your sadness was uncomfortable or they didn't like it. I experienced the same thing. And I will tell you that my life is better for not having that category of people in my life. And a number of the people who showed up were such a beautiful surprise.
I was just gonna say it was really surprising who did call and we've become so much closer. And it didn't even occur to me that they would be there. And so yeah, I'm just there's like light sides and dark sides of this, but I had exactly the same experience. Yeah.
I want to talk about Elayne, right? Because you've done something extraordinary with your loss. You saw a true gap in your experience. You realized that there was something very, very hard about what you were going through that could be changed. And you thought, how can I make this better? So will you please explain,
Yeah.
Elayne, and the work that you're doing, and then I will continue to ask you questions so that everyone can understand.
Well, so Elayne is it's like a platform, digital platform that helps you settle and unwind someone's life. And so, when my mom passed away, I thought it was, there was acute grief, and then you kind of want to go on with your life because it had already been 5.5 years. But there was so much admin to do, right? Like I had to figure out the bank accounts and passwords and call random people to tell them what happened and ask, like, what do I do now? And I was thinking the whole time that there needs to be something that guides you through this, like someone or something, and just nothing existed. And I mean, it goes back to the fact that most people want to look away and are uncomfortable. And so it just blew my mind that no one had started a company like this or anything in the space.
Where does this fall in terms of power of attorney, or because it's interesting to me that you have started this and you actually had time with your mom in essence to prepare some, right? In a couple of situations, like with the loss that I experienced, I mean, he and I were not married, so there wasn't anything. It was more that his kids had to take that on, but there was no power of attorney. It was a lot of missing pieces. And then I have another friend who passed away, and something similar. He has a business, right? So his daughter is taking over the business, but there are no passwords for the bank accounts. Where is the business license? Where is and there's so many unknowns, right? And so after going through that with Marty, I thought I need to get all of my everything in order so that, good heavens, my kids aren't left with this. And I will tell you that I started but have not completed that process for them. So
yeah, I mean, I think you realize how bad it is when you go through it. So when I'm talking to people, if they kind of stare at me with a blank stare, I'm like, don't worry, we'll be here. If you ever need us. But yeah, it's funny because actually lawyers use us too.
Really?
There's the legal, formal legal process of submitting documents to the court and going through probate. But there's so much in between that people don't have help with,
Right.
that like lawyers wouldn't do or a wealth manager wouldn't do. Like, for example, knowing how to transfer car titles, like the deeds, and what do you do with the Facebook page? And did you know that your parent had life insurance that you might not have known about right away? Like, there's been times where we've found insurances for people and helped them through submitting to get it that I don't know if they would have found. And so, yeah, it's just everything in between of the formal legal process and, settling everything.
What is your educational background? So where did your idea for this come from and the wherewithal to do it? So you first say, gosh, there's got to be a process.
Yeah. I don't have a background in this. And I consider myself almost a chameleon during my career. I started in finance. And then I covered different industries and ended up in rare disease investing, which I don't have a background in medicine. But I think you challenge yourself to keep learning.
In the same way.
Yeah. And then went to get my MBA and yeah, I just saw this problem and I was like, I love this quote, like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right.
And so it's, we're still figuring so much out and automating so much, but I know our users, they appreciate any help. I've had grown men on Zooms crying and I've had them, a couple months later be like, I wouldn't have known what to do because my wife passed away and she did everything. And so, it's just, they're so grateful for any help. And I have really high standards, so I keep trying to make it better. And then that goes back to Y Combinator. It's a accelerator for tech companies. And yeah, I was like, if I'm going to do this, we're going to do it right. And have the best tech to make it the best experience. And it's like it's a 1% acceptance rate. And they let me in because they were like, we hear 20,000 ideas, pitches a year, and we've never heard this pitch. So why don't you try it? And so yeah, it's kind of like pulling in different ideas, trying to put one's foot in front of the other. But usually I don't know. Like, I'm just making it up.
See, I don't think you're making it up. I think you're being guided.
That is another thing I had not ever considered before. I appreciate, yeah.
I feel as though this is very much hard work for you, right? I feel as though this is, when you were talking about how you haven't quite dealt with your grief yet, I think that you are in bits and pieces, and I recognize that you feel as though you haven't had your full breakdown, maybe. But I think that in bits and pieces, you are channeling some of your mom's heart, and you're doing the work that is allowing you to alleviate some of the pain that other people are experiencing. Would you say that any of this feels even slightly healing for you?
Yes, I would. And again, I've only kind of recently started opening this book, their chapter, of healing and looking backwards. And it is something I always tell my team is like, we will not cause any more stress. Like, we're here. I want people to come to us and feel comfort. And I do not want anyone to experience what I experienced. And so, as I see people going through this and having a better experience, it's so rewarding, more than anything I had done before. And that's what keeps me going every day.
Adria, what piece are you trying to take away of the experience that you had? What piece are you trying to alleviate for people?
So I always say that we're not a mental health company, but we allow you to focus on your mental health instead of stressing over all of the to-dos. Like, you don't have to call the insurance company. We can do it for you. Or you don't have to, call the utility company, because I'll tell you a little story. And I hear these stories all the time. I was trying to transfer about 4 months after my mom passed away, the utility account, gas and electric, over to my name. And the guy on the phone did not care what was going on and was like, our policy is that your mom would have had to write us a letter to allow you to take over the accounts. She no longer lives in the house. And so we're just going to shut the whole thing down. Like, we're not going to give you gas and electric. And it was that was one of my breakdowns on the phone with this guy. And I was just like, I don't understand how you can be so cold and heartless.
Callous.
And it's just callous. Yeah. And it's just re-traumatizing. Like, you have interactions like that all the time. And
do they not normally have a policy for that? I mean, how does everyone not have a policy? Because honest to God, this happens every day. This is not an anomaly.
No.
Right? Like, it is. Unfortunately, we lose people. So
yes. They don't. A lot of the processes and like SOPs that we've gathered, we have had to call the companies and work through it and kind of insist that they tell us what they would want someone to do, and then we kind of build it into our product. But yeah, I mean, a lot of banks don't even have it on their website. Companies don't, where, you have online accounts. They don't say what to do. 2 months ago, I went to Facebook just to check it, and the link to memorialize a page was down. And I mean, if you think of how many people are on Facebook, it's crazy that they wouldn't even maintain it. So yeah, I again, it's just like this whole culture of looking away when you're going through a really hard time. And the thing with this is that, you experience the death, that's traumatic, but this process lasts 18 months on average, and it takes 400 hours on average. And it's not like, so you're doing that while trying to process grief, and it stays with you for months when everyone else is like, okay, it's time to move on a week after the death.
I know it is. I learned so much during that process. We have continued as a society to shorten the amount of time that we gift people to mourn, to grieve, to move on. It used to be, historically, women wore black for upwards of a year or two when someone passed away. And now we give someone 3 days off of work. And there were times, I mean, I read so many books, and there were times that I wanted to be wearing a sign. I just wanted to wear something. I wanted there to be a universal sign of some kind.
Yeah.
That just told people outwardly. And I wished there was. I wish there was something we could all wear. an emblem, a pin, a something that just so people could give us a wide berth, that they could pat us on the shoulder,
Yes.
that they could rub our head, that they could, they could put a blanket on our shoulder, something that people who had the capacity to have compassion could do so. And the people who needed to walk on the other side of the street could, because the people who need to walk on the other side of the street, I needed them to stay far away from me.
Yeah.
Because it was extraordinary to me that there are that many people who have no capacity for kindness. And what you are doing is you've raised your hand and said, let me take a piece of your burden and try to pave a path for you that hasn't been paved. And you are additionally, you're not just changing the conversation, you're changing the industry. And that's powerful. I don't know if you recognize how valuable what you're doing is, because there is a compassionate side to it, but you're also forcing industries, you're forcing organizations to create processes that weren't there before.
Yes.
And that's why Combinator said, yes, you deserve to be in the same category as Airbnb. And because I don't know why no one has thought of this, but no one has thought of this.
Yeah. I think because it was so traumatic that the last thing you want to do is turn around and go back into it. So I feel like that's something I have to explore about why I did. But I just felt like I just couldn't not, I think is what it came down to.
You're being guided.
Yeah.
But see, I think that so that's interesting, because you said, why would I, like most people, but I think that some of the most brilliant and life changing things that happen are the ones born from us being cracked wide open, right? There are only a fraction of people who are truly cracked wide open from something and completely transform. Things that are hard change us, but only a percentage of people do something extraordinary with it. And those are the people that you read about. Those are where quotes are created and companies are born, and that's what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
I was very aware of this actually when I was going through, taking care of my mom. Because I took time off work to care for her through hospice, and then she did it at home, and then she passed away, and then there was all this estate admin or even just life to unwind while taking care of my sister, and I had seen from my involvement in the cancer community that a lot of people struggle after it's done, and I just really did, I knew I had more to give. And so I did not want to, I didn't want to settle. So.
Well, you have done the opposite of that. You've given yourself a purpose too. How is your sister doing?
She is doing better. I think she was dealing with her mental health. Sobriety was also, something that she struggled with. It's a tough relationship, I think when someone goes through that. But she's, it's one day, 1 week at a time, and she's better. She's better now.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I wake up every day excited, and so I'm really glad that I'm building this, and I have a husband now, and he's wonderful.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I have amazing friends. I think that is the beautiful thing that came out of a lot of this. I lost a lot of friends, but the ones that came out of the woodwork that I did not expect have just like made my world so much richer. Because oftentimes they've also had experiences. So yeah,
So that it has created a bit of a community for you too.
it really has. Yeah.
What can we do to support you, and where can people find you?
Well, you can find us at Elayne.com, ELAYNE.com. And yeah, we're here. So you can email us anytime. It's careteam@Elayne.com. And we just released a new feature where if you just stick your obituary link into our platform, we'll make you a roadmap and we'll start like helping you through the process. So yeah.
That's amazing. I asked you this before and I want to ask you again, because my first thought when I saw Elayne.com was that it might be your mom's name.
Yes.
And it's not, but there is significance to the name Elayne. So
Yes.
will you share that?
Yes. Well, my mom's name was Ildiko. It's Hungarian, and I did think of naming the company after her, but it's a little bit hard to pronounce. So I was like, what's something that means something beautiful? And Elayne means a ray of light through the clouds. And that's what I wanted the ethos of the company to be, that when it's storming and, you don't see the sun at all, we'll be there.
That's amazing. Do you get signs from your mom?
I think so. I carry like her jewelry with me all the time, and I do think that she nudges me in the right direction and maybe has been guiding me. So I will definitely journal about this after.
I'm pretty sure she's guiding you. And I have no doubt she is incredibly proud of you. I mean, it's interesting because just in that sense feel, when we were talking about your mom, I don't know if you had any idea how old I was, but I knew you were going to tell me before you did that she was 52 when she was diagnosed. The second we started to talk about lung cancer being the number one for women, I all of a sudden thought, she's going to tell me she was 52 when she was diagnosed. And so those little moments are just little guides for me. So I think you're doing something really extraordinary. And I'm so grateful that you spent time here with me and sharing your story. And
Thank you.
I think that you're doing your grief journey exactly as you're supposed to. You're taking the nudges when you get them. And what I have found is that it comes as it's supposed to, right? It really is. You're listening to yourself. So you cry when you need to, and you power through when you feel like you can.
Mm-hmm.
And It sounds like you've been doing just that. Just make sure you continue to take time for you.
Thank you. And this was such a wonderful conversation. I have so much to think about now, too. And I'm still learning and processing. And that's also something I did want people to know, because it's been almost 4 years now. And I still cry. So.
And that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Every time you cry, you're remembering her, you're thinking about her, you're honoring her, and you really are doing such beautiful justice for her and helping so many people. So thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here. And friends, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Hope Comes to Visit. It is always such a joy to be here with you and to share this level of hope and light. And we hope that this hope that was visiting you today is some that hits you in the very right place in your heart, and that Adria's story and Elayne.com is a place that you'll be able to visit. And I hope that you'll be able to share the podcast. And until we see you and visit with you again next time, please take very good care of you. Thank you again for being here. Naturally, it's important to thank the people who support and sponsor the podcast. This episode is supported by Chris Dully, a trusted criminal defense attorney and friend of mine here in St. Louis, who believes in second chances and solid representation. Whether you're facing a DWI, felony, or traffic issue, Chris handles your case personally with clarity, compassion, and over 15 years of experience. When things feel uncertain, it helps to have someone steady in your corner. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP, or you can visit dullylawfirm.com to schedule your free consultation.